Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Gabriel Palhares about a lot of his recent projects and upcoming projects. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me here. I'm so excited to do this interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to chat with you. I mean, you've been doing a lot of really cool things in Brazil, acting-wise. We're going to talk about a lot of these projects, and people want to hear about it. But what do you like the most about acting? Like, why do you like acting specifically, Gabriel?
Okay, this is a tricky question, but I think I have one word that describes it all. Is connection. I really like to connect myself with my characters. That is something that is not possible in my real life. So when I do a character, I can swim into a whole new world, and this is amazing. And also the connection that I develop with the people that are watching me. When people recognize my work, I start a connection with them, and this is like so cool. I love this about acting, and this is the only way that I have to connect me with new things and new people and my characters.
And people all around the world connect with all these projects. And you also, as an actor, you're also a fan of content. You love connecting with it as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love connecting with all. I also have a lot of friends of United States, so they watch me on my projects here in Brazil, and they come to talk with me. And this is so nice, this connection that I can develop with all the people around the world because of my job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a couple of projects we want to talk about right now, Gabriel. One I'm really excited to chat about because this was officially the first Brazilian film that was in 3D. So I want to can you talk to me about this one a little bit? Because this is really cool and it really interests me when you talk to me about it.
Of course. Actually, my first movie of all of them, it was the first Brazilian movie in 3D.
That's crazy.
It's a new experience, not just for me, but for all the Brazilian team that was doing this film. But actually, this movie was kind of different because a lot of people of other productions and all the Disney production guys came to Brazil to help us to do this 3D stuff and the effects and all these scenes that involve the 3D. But for me, it was so nice because I always saw the 3D movies of United States, of Canada, and all of this international. So when I was participating of a movie in Brazil, it was the first 3D movie. It was a kind of an awesome experience because all was different, all was new, not for me, but for all. So this team together, we created, I think it was one of the best Brazilian 3D movies and was the first, and I was participating of it, and I'm so glad that I did it.
That's so crazy. It's so cool. And then it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And I feel like it's interesting too because, there's a series that you also worked on as well, Liberad. And I find it interesting because I think it's all storytelling, but like I feel like it's going to be a bit different. Like that was a movie we talked about. This was a TV show, a series. What was it like working on that series specifically?
Well, actually, this series is my most memorable work. I think I can say this because this was my biggest character. It was my most challenging character. And it was I can say that it's one of my top 3 favorite experience ever because I won an award because of this. I won an award because of this character. Here is in famous award in Brazil, and
that's amazing. Congratulations. That's awesome.
This TV show tell about the story of Tiradentes, that is one of the most important figures of Brazil history, and playing this character that is like a gangster, but he's a kid, and he's also a lone kid, so he is sad, but he's just like tricky and he shows things. And this was my most unique character of all of them. So it was one of my favorite experiences ever. I love to do this. And nowadays the people see me and say, "Oh, you are the guy from that series, right?" And I say, "Yeah, it's me." This is so nice.
That's good. That's cool, but that's always going to be a bit strange, right? Like when you're out with your family walking around and it's like, "Oh, okay."
Actually, it's because I was so little when I did this character, and I don't know how the people recognize me because today I'm with glasses, my hair is cut, and all these things, and I grew up, I think, a little bit. But when the people say this and they say that they loved my work, that I was their favorite character of the series, I feel so glad because of it. And my mom and all my family are so proud of my characters. And this one, it was actually one of my favorites because it was so different of all the things that I ever done. Because he's an old character. He's not from nowadays. So this was, I think, one of my favorite characters ever.
And it's interesting too because you mentioned it's a project you've done in the past, and people are like, "Oh, like I love this. This is great, right?" But you said you were younger when you did it. But it's funny too because it's like because people have access because of social media and everything, clips and everything. But it's like you're also kind of like, "Thank you," but like I got new projects too that I want you to see too.
Yeah, it's like I feel so glad they recognize me because of this works. But guys, I have new things coming. But this is also really funny. But they saw, oh, what is their new projects? Let me see. When I get home, I will watch it. And this is nice because I always like to talk with the people that recognize me on the streets.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think this connection, how I said before, is the most important thing. So when I say about my new works, they get so happy, just like, oh, I will see you again on the screens. I was so excited to it. You're such a talented actor. And sometimes I cry because of it, because I get emotional.
Oh, 100%.
But when they say this, I just turn so happy immediately, and that they want to watch more of my works and my jobs and all these things. But when they get this enthusiasm to watch my new things, I get so happy. It's amazing.
That's so amazing. Gabriel, you worked on a project in the US. You worked on a film in the States, which is
this was my
awesome. I know. Like what's that like, and how did it kind of happen? Like when was it? When did this happen?
Well, this is actually a dream come true because my dream is to work in an international project, and this is kind of an international project. It happens in the middle of 2022.
Okay.
Did my audition to the character, and when I get the confirmation of that I passed to it, my character is Steven Spielberg. That is the name of one huge guy from cinema and all these things. And when I have this news, I started crying. I jumped because I went to Orlando to film it. And
what project is it? What's the name of the project?
The name in English is Next Stop America. Okay. And the name in Portuguese is Partiu America.
Awesome.
And I'm a big fan of roller coasters and all these rides, but I have 2 days closed on Busch Gardens just for me. I went to all the roller coasters, and my first roller coaster ever is filmed because of this project.
And sometimes TV shows and movies feel like you're on a roller coaster because there's so many emotions, and it feels like you can't escape the roller coaster of the show.
Yeah, this is a real thing. But I think in my projects, I'm so glad because all of my projects was really, really nice to start from the beginning and until the end. All my projects was really nice, and the team of Partiu America, Next Stop America, it was one of my favorite teams ever. We create a family on this team. My director, the characters too, Luara, Matheus Ceará, Priscila Fantin, all of them, they were so nice, so kind to me, and we create a family. And this roller coaster, we were together on the roller coaster, on the movie, and on the roller coaster.
A family at Busch Gardens.
Yeah, it was it.
No, it's amazing. I did want to ask you this because I find it interesting because we talked, there's so many cool TV shows and movies out there, but just for you, for Gabriel Palhares, like for your preference, like for working in it or watching, like, are there types of movies and shows you like the most? Like, because there's like comedy, drama, horror. Like, is there anything that you like the most specifically?
Actually, I really love all of kind of movies because all the new experience is welcome to me. I really like to, know new movies and new stuff. But I have two that are in my heart for real. I think it's thriller, but not horror movies, like thriller movies.
Yeah.
And fantasy movies that are my favorite, especially Harry Potter. I have a lot of friends here and Funko Pops of Harry Potter. I love fantasy things and thriller. So Wednesday, that is the new Netflix series,
Yes.
was a mix of that. Love it. So I really like this kind of movies and series with thriller and fantasy. But if they were together, they're better.
Did you watch? I have a lot of friends that were actors on Lock and Key on Netflix. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I watched it. It's it's a fun series to watch. But my grandfather, he loves it.
Yeah.
My grandfather loves Lock and Key. He just like get on the sofa and started watching, and he was like, "Oh, Lock and Key, you have to watch it with me, And then I watched it with him, and it was such a fun experience. We love this series.
It's so crazy. And okay, so before we wrap up, this is important. This is big because I believe that we talked about this before. There's a project in the works right now that you are able to tell me about, and it's exciting. And I think this is an exclusive. I think this is a Popternative exclusive.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this project?
It's an exclusive just for Popternative, but I'm working on a new project of the history of one of the guys that it's so important here in Brazil. His name is Betinho. He is in hemophiliac. He died a couple of years ago, and he contracted AIDS in one of the blood transfusions. But he was an activist. He fights against the hunger, and he was such a kind person, and everyone loves him. And I'm doing his son on this new series of Global Play called Quem Tem Fome Tem Pressa. It's about Betinho. And this is an exclusive. Nobody knows it until now.
Wow.
And I have one more exclusive thing, that is the Next Step America, because I filmed all, but it's not, it's not on the cinemas. It's not.
It's not available. Yeah, it's not available yet. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not yet. So this year it's gonna go probably on the cinemas, but I don't have sure yet. But probably.
Oh, amazing! No, that's awesome. Thank you for giving us exclusives. That's awesome. And then, but now everyone's gonna see this interview and be like, "When is this coming out? Like, I want to see this, right?" So you set yourself up. Which is awesome. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. This was so great.
Thank you. This is a dream come true. One of my dreams was doing interview on English, because I learned English since I was 3. So I really want to put this in practice. And sorry if I.
This was fantastic, man. This was great. Great answers. This was awesome. Like, you did a great job. So this is your first English interview.
Yeah, it is actually.
That's
my first English.
Amazing. No, well, we're honored. We're happy, and thank you so much. Everyone's gonna look out the projects, and then your Instagram account, is it just your name? If people want to follow and keep up to date with everything.
My account actually is a fan story, because I really want to put just my first and my last name, but the user wasn't available. So my user is Gabriel N-A-K Naki Palhares.
Okay, so they're gonna check that out.
It.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll make sure to tag and everything so people can keep up to date with it.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Gabriel Palhares and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.